Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're jumping right into this wild, fast-moving world of digital identity. We're going to look at both the tech and, maybe more importantly, the psychology that's shaping our virtual selves right now in 2026.
You know, for the longest time, we've kind of seen our virtual selves as these little digital puppets, right? Just characters we control in a game or some social hangout, but that's really only half the story.
Because think about it, in a lot of ways, our avatars are also mirrors. They can reflect this, idealized version of who we wish we were, or maybe just an alternate version of ourselves. It's a space where we can explore and express things we might not be able to in the real world.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This is the whole reason we're talking about this today. What happens when that mirror starts changing the person looking into it? When it starts to actually reshape our real-world thoughts, our confidence, even what we do?
Okay, so let's dig into the psychology of all this. There's this incredibly powerful phenomenon going on, and it's got a name that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a Greek myth.
It's called the Proteus effect. Yep, named after the shape-shifting sea god. And what the research shows, again and again, is that when you jump into an avatar, you, without even realizing it, start acting in ways that match how it looks. The impact is huge, and we can actually measure it.
So how does this actually happen? Well, it pretty much works in 3 steps. First, there's self-perception. You see your avatar as tall and confident, and on some level, your brain just goes, okay, I guess I'm confident. Then, you've got something called de-individuation. This is where you kind of fade into the background a little, which makes it way easier to just become that avatar's persona. And finally, the big one, behavioral confirmation. You start acting the part, which reinforces the whole thing. It becomes this really powerful feedback loop.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. Researchers like Yi and Bailenson actually tested this. And get this, they found that people who were given taller avatars literally acted more confident. They negotiated more aggressively in tasks, and the only thing that changed was their virtual height. Wild, right? And it wasn't just height. They saw the exact same thing with attractiveness. When people used avatars that were seen as more attractive, they suddenly became more social. They'd stand closer to other people in VR and were way more open to sharing personal details with complete strangers.
Now, this effect can have some incredibly deep, really meaningful applications in the real world. Take this 2025 study, for example. It shows that for transgender and gender-diverse people, these virtual spaces can be absolutely life-changing. When they can use an avatar that truly aligns with their gender identity, they report feeling less of that distress we call gender dysphoria and more of what's known as gender euphoria, that feeling of joy and rightness. It gives them a safe and really important place to explore and just be who they are.
Okay, so we've got the psychology. We know the stakes are high. So let's talk about the tools. What are people actually using to build these digital selves in 2026?
All right, so the first big choice you usually have to make is all about the vibe, the aesthetic. Are you going to go photorealistic, make a digital twin that looks just like you? Or are you going to go stylized, maybe something more idealized, or even completely out there and imaginative? And honestly, people love both.
And of course, there's a whole ecosystem of tools out there for whatever you choose. If you want that super high-end, photorealistic look, you're probably looking at something like Epic Games' MetaHuman Creator. But on the stylized side, you've got super popular options like the Genie's SDK or VRChat Studio, which is great for that anime look. The point is, there are a ton of options.
And let's be clear, this is a huge business. We're not talking about some niche hobby here. These interactive digital avatars, the ones we're using to hang out and play games, they make up more than half of the entire global avatar economy. That is a massive market built all around digital identity.
And here's a perfect example of what I mean. If you've ever been on VRChat, and it's a huge app for Quest 3 users, you know there's this whole creator economy. People are spending real money here. I'm talking a few bucks for a shirt or, get this, thousands of dollars for a completely custom, one-of-a-kind avatar. See, it's not just a game character anymore. It's an investment in yourself, your digital self.
But that investment raises a really big, really thorny question. You've spent all this time, maybe all this money, crafting the perfect digital you. So what happens when you want to go to a different virtual world? How do you take it with you?
For a while, there was an answer. This company called Ready Player Me, RPM for short, they were the big name in portable identity. You could make one avatar and take it across thousands of different apps. It was amazing. But then Netflix bought them. And in late 2025, they shut the whole thing down. And that just sent a shockwave through the entire community. It was more than just a service ending. It was this brutal wake-up call that our identities, these things we'd invested in, could just be deleted by a corporate decision.
So that created this huge vacuum, and developers were scrambling to find a new solution. A lot of them are moving over to the Genies SDK. That's a software development kit. And the big difference is a technical one, but it's super important. Ready Player Me would pull your avatar down from their central server. Genies works differently. It uses a local toolkit to actually build your avatar inside the app itself. Why does that matter? It gives developers way more control, and crucially, it means you're not relying on one single company that could just disappear.
So, the old system is gone? What's next? What does the future look like now? How is the industry trying to rebuild that dream of a single, portable digital self? Well, the next wave of tech is all about one thing: total immersion. We're talking full body tracking becoming way more common, so your avatar moves exactly like you do. We're seeing AI that can create these super realistic facial expressions just from the sound of your voice. And then there's advanced haptics, gloves and suits that let you actually feel virtual objects. We're getting so close to closing that gap between the two worlds.
But here's the thing. All that cool tech is only half the battle. To stop another Ready Player Me disaster from happening, the whole industry is pushing hard for open standards. Things like standardized file formats. VRM is a big one for avatars. And universal development tools, or APIs, like OpenXR. The big goal here, the holy grail, is true interoperability. It's about making sure that the identity you build today isn't trapped inside one company's little digital kingdom tomorrow.
And all of this brings us back to where we started, but with a twist. We know the Proteus effect is real. Our avatars literally change who we are. And the technology is making those avatars more and more like us, more real every single day. So as that line between the digital you and the physical you gets blurrier and blurrier, you have to wonder, when you look in that virtual mirror, which one of you is the reflection?